Good morning, Linux lovers. My name's Wimpy. Welcome to my world. How's everyone doing? Right, I took a day off yesterday from this. Like I said, I wasn't going to do it every day, but most mornings, and this is a better time for me to start about this time of day. I don't know how many people are going to make it, but I've got my 2 cups of tea again. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, this was recorded live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Wimpy's World on the 26th of August. So if you want to participate in these live, then please come and join us over on Twitch. Thanks very much for the follow. Thanks for joining. Those of you that are in chat, it's early. Oh, wow.
Thank you for the follow, Hoss0312.
Okay, maybe this is this a genuine person or is this a bot? I wonder. If you're real, do say hello. Thanks for the follows if you're real. Right, so this morning I'm just going to get started with a little bit of testing of Mate Desktop 126, which I have backported to Ubuntu 20.04. So I just wanted to sort of go into that a little bit about what I've been doing there. Morning, Yannick, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. So there was a little bit of effort involved in bringing Mate 126 back to Ubuntu 20.04, but my plan is to release that into a PPA so that the Ubuntu Mate community who are on the LTS can access the latest release of Mate Desktop, because there is lots of good bug fixes and quality of life improvements there. Good morning, Paul. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome back. And if I get time, I want to take my first steps with getting started with a Gitpod. So that's in readiness for a stream I'm doing later today. So if you're not following, come and get followed to twitch.tv/slimdevops. Because later today, me and my colleague Peter are going to be doing a Containers 101, which I know Yannick, who's here in chat now, has requested. And we're going to start at the absolute ground level, making your first container. And we're deliberately going to make it in a way that's very familiar to Ubuntu users. So we're going to sidestep some of the typical ways you'd build a container to sort of demystify what containers are and how to construct them. And once we've got that comfortable sort of base understanding, then we can progress into, well, this is some of the additional steps that you can do, like how you'd actually use pull-in applications ready for production use. But this is our first steps at sort of, explaining this to a new crowd who want to get started with containers. So I saw Jeff again. Hello, Jeff. Thanks for stopping by again. And Big Pod. Wow, have you made an effort to get up early this morning, Big Pod? Thanks for stopping by. Linux Paul says he made the hop to the Chelsea Cucumber edition yesterday because GNOME was annoying you. Well, I'm obviously delighted that you've decided to use Ubuntu Mate. What version did you install, and what was it about GNOME that you finally couldn't deal with? So Big Pod's literally just woken up. Right, okay, I'm going to ping one other message over. I've got that pre-composed here. Do that. Right, back to... oh gosh, where are we going? There we go. Right, so what do I need to do? I think the first thing we need to do is move over to the code window here, and we will have a terminal. I think we'll probably do it for now. So, and we'll need a browser as well, so let's just grab one from up here. Whoops, it's too big. The window's too big. Make it smaller, make the browser smaller. Okay, that'll do for getting started. Right then, so what did I do? A few days ago, I started backporting Mate Desktop to Focal. there was a couple of... Oh, I'm not logged in again. I'm going to choose a different browser window to do this. I'm not going through that authenticating from scratch business again. New window. There we go. Bring you down here. We'll use my normal day-to-day browser. So I wanted to get Mate working, Mate 126 working on Focal, and there's a couple of issues with that, in that there's methods from a newer version of glibc that is used in the new version of Mate that doesn't ship with Focal. So I had to do a little bit of patching to accommodate that. It wasn't too complicated. And I also had to revert some changes that we've made in newer versions of Ubuntu Mate, where we use the Ayatollah indicators, and in 2004 that was still using the Ubuntu indicators. So there's a little bit of massaging required, but it appears to all be working well. It's in this super experimental PPA at the moment for sort of validation by the Ubuntu Mate QA team. So this is the PPA, which I call Play Park. Well, you can use this, but be forewarned that this is not where I will be making this available for public consumption. I shall show that in just a moment. But if we look here,
thank you for the follow, Tilnesh.
Thank you, Tilnesh. That's very good of you. So let's just have a look here. Linux Paul says, what's this about? You installed 2104. Well, that's a good choice. I'm really pleased with the Yaru theme in 2104. I think that's terrific. Got tired of your fans going mad when I wasn't doing anything. Ah, okay. Pretty sure that Tracker was the culprit. Tracker is the thing that does like the file system indexing, so you can find things, right? Morning, Takov. Thanks very much for coming back. Yes, brew time commences. So I was making my tea this morning. There's a kitchen just down the way. In fact, one of these I'm going to do one morning. I'm going to practice something I'm planning for a conference I'm going to later in the year. I'm going to try and do live streaming whilst walking around this place, because the place I work in is quite an interesting environment. So I thought we could go and visit, some of the other parts of the building. Like, believe it or not, there is Narnia, and you actually go through the wardrobe into Narnia in this building. It's quite cool. So I thought I might experiment with that. But while over there is a kitchen, which is in New York, and there's a Statue of Liberty and everything. And while I was there, I got chatting to somebody else who works here who I hadn't met before, and they said that they'd got better tea bags, so they gave me 2 higher quality tea bags to make my cup of tea with this morning. So with that, let's take a look over here. So yes, a real live conference. Yes, Linux Paul, with a bit of luck, I'll be going to KubeCon in Los Angeles in October. Tea with milk. Oh, yes. No sugar, though. So this is the PPA that I've been testing in, and there's another PPA that I'll just show you, which is where, if you're running 2104 Linux Paul, good news, this is where you should go. I'll show you where you should head to. This one here, Ubuntu Mate Dev, and I created this PPA the other day called Fresh Mate, and this includes a complete build of Mate 126 for Hirsute. So as you are running 2104, Paul, you can add this PPA, and this will cleanly upgrade you to Mate 126. And these upgrades, because they're made by me and they're based on the packaging that goes into Debian and into Ubuntu, you will be guaranteed that if you add these PPAs, you'll get a clean upgrade out of them when you upgrade to the next release of Ubuntu Mate. So these are sort of as good as you can get. So lots and lots of bug fixes in these releases. I'm very pleased. I haven't been mega involved in upstream Mate for about 18 months, and they've done a stellar job on this release. It's they'd said it was mostly about features, but really it's the bug fixes and quality of life improvements in this release that I think stand out. And I have started to pick up on my sort of upstream responsibilities. So as a new release is out, I thought now is the time to sort of go in and try and do like a bug a day. So I've sent my fixes up for building on older versions of glibc. Mostly because I know Linux Mint at some point will want to ship new Mate, and they use a 2004 base, and they won't be able to do that without the fixes that I've put together. So, Paul, you can upgrade with me if you like. What I'm going to do is, well, I'm not going to do a suit because I think I've already got one of those. We'll just go and take a quick look here. So in my, let's just make that font a bit bigger. There we go. This is my collection of virtual machines. So if we do a machine with focal, that's opened a window. Where is that window opened? There we go. It's always difficult for me to know where these windows are opening. I can't remember if this one has been upgraded or not. Let's find out. It's quite possible it has been. Oh, there we go. Is it Mate About? Yes. Oh, there we go. So this one's already been upgraded. So let's do this. Let's shut down. Oh yeah, this is actually broken as well, because look, you can see it says no indicators here. So actually, what I'll do is, let's see, this was a test prior to all of the packaging fixes. So let's see if I do an update which has got that Play Park PPA added. My password is test, by the way. Has got that. Oh, is it test? Yes. Has got that PPA added. And hopefully now we'll have some fixes from that PPA. There we go. We can see things like the indicator applet in there and the control panel, which is where I had to do some fixing of backporting glibc methods and what have you. So hopefully if I do these upgrades and restart, the indicator should come back and work properly again. So it says here, I put nothing in my Paul just has black tea. I'm assuming your tea is made with black tea leaves as opposed to green tea leaves, of course. Takov says, so you found brew companions in the co-working space. Yeah, I did. His name's Daryl. He works just over there. And Jeff says, I'm having a cup of black tea with licorice root. Oh my goodness. Yes. I remember licorice being popular in, actually, yeah, I mean, not so much in Holland when we were there, but I spent a bit of time working in Sweden, and I remember licorice being extremely popular in Sweden. But no, I mean, this is the traditional way of drinking tea in England, I think, for most people. I like a builder's tea, brick red. Right then. Linux Paul says, fun fact, I'm that one weirdo who preferred old applications places menu. Yeah, well, it's there if you want it, of course. That's all preserved. That's still there. So I think what we'll do is we'll give this machine a restart. I'll explain why I've put brisk menu in as well, because, I mean, if you go and read, there's a record of that, but let's restart. So the reason that I elected to use Brisk by default is that's just sort of the behaviour that people expect these days. And I can't talk about this too much because it's a spoiler for an upcoming Ubuntu podcast episode. But I was talking to somebody who has similar sensibilities to me regarding the traditional desktop metaphor, in that they are a fan. But we did both agree that as good as the traditional desktop metaphor is, there is room for improvement. And I think, you know, a searchable start menu, I mean, I can't use my computer without it. I'm very keyboard centric in the way that I use my computer. And so the more keyboard shortcuts I can have, the happier and more productive that I am. So BigPod, it's a real tea cast this morning. BigPod says they mostly drink herbal teas. The only thing is a couple of spoons of sugar. Yeah. And Tilnesh is basically repeating what I've just said. They prefer a keyboard-centric menu. Yes, ULauncher is great. I use that, and in fact, I do want to integrate ULauncher into Ubuntu Mate. I always install ULauncher. I've been using it for probably 9 months now, and I use it all the time. It's really great. But I haven't quite figured out how to... like, the default experience is great, but I feel like it needs a little bit of pre-configuration for Mate, or Ubuntu Mate. And the way that those extensions are provided, bound to Git repositories, isn't something that you can package and deliver in a distribution. Or at least with the policies that are in place with Debian and Ubuntu, so I need to think about how to do that. So BigPod, are you saying the searchable start menu in terms of just searching for apps, or searching for files and documents and stuff as well? Because what I'm thinking is that we've got Brisk, it is just the menu for the applications, and it searches that very well. Whereas ULauncher is then the thing that you use for the rest of the system, and it's kind of like Spotlight on macOS. So, did the indicators come back? If I drag this over, there they are. Look. So we are now running. We open that up. We're now running 2003, so this is from the QA snapshot build that will hopefully be coming out later today, the point release. And I've added that PPA to get ourselves updated to Mate 126. So I think this is fine. In fact, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's make it better than fine. Let's go to here. So this is the Play Park PPA, and these are the vocal packages. So if we just say copy packages and say the destination is, I put an emoji in it deliberately so I could see it easily. Where is it? Except I can't see it easily. That's annoying. There it is. Destination is the same series. Copy the packages, and we'll just filter this by vocal. So this is my Play Park PPA where the test builds have existed. We won't send Arctica over because that is still in testing, but we will pick all of what composes Mate Desktop and send those over to the fresh Mate PPA, because I'm probably going to completely torpedo the Playground and Play Park PPAs, which is where the Ubuntu Mate team have been performing Q&A, and move those into a new PPA under the Ubuntu Mate dev organization. Plank. Why did I build? Oh yes, because there's a patch. That's right, there's a patch. So let's do that. In fact, we don't need plank. Actually thinking about it, we don't need that, because Focal for the Mutiny layout still uses the Mate doc applet. So we'll hit copy. That is now up here. It will say 38 packages have been sent. Hang on. Oh, it changed my options. That's annoying. So when I change this, it changed this down here. Well, we don't want that, do we? Right, so I'm going to have to do this again. This is a bit tedious, isn't it? I should have looked before I hit the button. Thankfully, Mate doesn't have a lot of components that make it up. So I'll be interested to know, Linux Paul, since you've made the move, have your fans died down when your system isn't being taxed? Was GNOME to blame for that? Or was the switch needless? I'm hoping that you've got a better experience, but let me know. Right, fresh Mate, same series, copy the packages. Okay, that's better. So now when we go and look over here and we say any series and filter, there you can now see there's a bunch of packages turning up which have been copied over for Focal. So this fresh Mate PPA is good. Now the other thing we'll do is another change we've made for Ubuntu Mate 20.04. We have another PPA which I will go to now, which is a backport of Yaru. So what we'll do is the same thing, except we will copy over the artwork to fresh Mate, and then we'll test this same series and copy packages. So that will take a little moment to sync over. Let me just catch up on chat because I see that there's been a little bit of chit chat whilst I was just clicking buttons. Okay, so for search functionality, yeah, I mean uLaunch is great for that for sure. Yeah, you can do Spotlight type searching with uLauncher. If you go and look at their extensions, there's tools for that. I don't have them all set up on... Actually, yes I do, because I did a dot file thing, didn't I? I wonder if I can display that. If I do preferences and extensions. Yeah, okay. These are the extensions that I use. So I've got 2 emoji extensions, but of course I have process killer, unit conversion, audio management. This has started falling over on 2104. I need to investigate why. Unicode system does things like shutdown, restart, controlling Spotify. So those are the things that I've added. And then it does have built-in file search. You can't see this though, I think this is only on my screen. Yeah, I can't bring that down into where I'm broadcasting OBS from, sadly. So, Tilnesh, Mate with a couple of freeze-dried strawberries. What? Oh, you're talking about the actual drink. Oh, interesting. Okay, I need to get new fresh stocks of Mate for home. So Paul is a big fan of Spotlight. Yeah, I really feel like that would be the next sort of usability improvement, and this was cemented by my conversation with this individual who has a affinity with the traditional desktop environment. They have created something similar for their project, which is called Assistant. So if you can figure out where Assistant resides in some traditional desktop environment, you may know what I'm alluding to, but you'll do well to find it, I think. And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I think ULauncher is the closest thing, because I've experimented with Albert in the past and things like Cupfer. I quite like Cupfer, so maybe I'll go back and look at that. But in the past, we had things like GNOME Do as well. Morning, Mindy. Welcome back. Thank you for stopping by. So Tilnesh asks, oh, and Big Pot confirms that he's mostly interested in searching for apps. And yeah, Tilnesh says, by the way, is there any up-to-date dock which behaves at least a bit like the macOS dock? Yes, it's called Plank, and it's integrated into Ubuntu Mate. And in 2104 onwards, Plank is used for the Mutiny layout to do the side panel, and it's used to do the bottom dock in our layouts that mimic macOS and Pantheon. So without a doubt, that is the closest thing you can get to a macOS dock, in my opinion. And due to features in the window manager in Mate 126, that integration with Plank is much tighter now. And in fact, I can remove a workaround I put in Ubuntu Mate to try and glue those two things together a bit better. That's no longer required. It's all native now. So I saw somewhere down here, hang on a moment. Yeah, so Linux, Paul says the same thing, Plank, but doesn't have folders. You can add folders, I think, to Plank. Yeah, I think there's a way of doing it. I think you literally just drag things onto the dock. I may be wrong. Good morning, Mark. How are you? I know I've got a Telegram message from you based on the conversation we were having yesterday. I'll get back to you after this. I'm going to publish the Ubuntu podcast for later, and then I'll get back to you. But yeah, I can sort you out is the short answer. Emojis are the most important feature. I mean, I use it all the time. I mean, I am a fan of emoji. I think it's a nice way to add a little bit of expression to what you're trying to communicate socially. Oh, you did see the ULauncher overlay, did you? Okay, so maybe because it detected that this was technically my active screen. So when I hit Control+, I was just looking to see. I'm pretty sure you can do file searches. But maybe I'm wrong about that. Am I wrong about that? Hotkey. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't find files. I don't even know. I don't have that many local files. I mean, I have a load of Git repositories. That's just found menus, hasn't it? So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there isn't. I mean, there is a file search built into Mate itself, which is... Oh, gosh. Yeah, that's not going to work. I don't know what I've just changed there, but... Yeah, there is a file search built into Mate. I'll have to investigate that. Maybe if there isn't file search in ULauncher, then maybe I'll develop an extension for that. We'll have to go and look. If anyone has the time to look now. Yes, Mark, I do remember Beagle. I think that was the sort of the start for all of the different, file indexing, searching things. I remember Beagle being, because, back when Beagle was around, we only had spinning disks, and I remember that thrashing the disks quite a lot. And we did look at adding tracker support into Mate Desktop and I think there are patches to do it in GitHub in pull requests, but I've not looked at the status of those for ages. So Tilnish says, just installed on my work desktop, replacing the default dash-to-dock extension in vanilla Ubuntu. Okay, so Tilnish, does that mean you've just installed Plank on actual Ubuntu to use Plank instead of dash-to-dock? And Takov asks, I was wondering how much effort or problem there will be rendering SVG icons instead of regular icons. So Takov, where do you mean? Because in Ubuntu Mate 2104 and the transition to Yaru, just about everything is an SVG now. There are very, very few fixed resolution images. Excellent, glad to hear that Plank is working for you. And Takov is saying on a desktop environment level, yeah, so in Ubuntu 2104, just about everything is an SVG now. I mean, there are pings and things because there are certain parts of the environment that expect 16 by 16, you know, tiny images for some of the menus and what have you, like the drop-down menus in applications. And the reason that they're PNGs is that when you scale SVGs down that small, they lose a lot of their fidelity. So it's best to actually ship those, use a different version of the SVG to generate PNGs so that they look sharp. Excellent. I'm glad I answered your question on that one there. So, anyone updated to 20 Mate Desktop 126 yet, based on this PPA? Let's have a look. Has it published everything yet? No, it takes a little while for these. The green means the packages are there, a tick means the packages are there and they've been published so that you can update to them. Did I copy the theme over? I don't think I did. Oh, maybe it's on this next page. Oh yeah, there it is. That's good. Okay. So, Linux Paul, if or you don't, yeah, if you add this fresh Mate, you'll get all the good stuff. I have installed, haven't rebooted yet though, because you're watching the stream. Fair enough. Right. So there we go. So, you know, I know people that are using Mate like to get the latest version. It was a bit more effort to backport it this time, but I'm pleased with the outcome. Is there anyone lurking in this stream that is new here and hasn't said hello before? Looking at the number of viewers, probably not. There's not many of us here this morning, probably due to my earlier start time. But if you are here and you haven't said hello before, raise your hand, give us a wave. Yeah, you've already said hello though, and good morning. This is for those people that haven't. Okay, so Mindy says, for some reason I'm having problems with GNOME on Ubuntu 2004 with application shortcuts. Super Space isn't working for the launcher, and for, I'm not sure what gpaste is. And what's that? Control-Alt-H isn't working, but Control-Alt-G is. Does anyone have any idea how to troubleshoot this? I'm running X. So, Control Space. I wonder if there's something in GNOME that eats Control Space, as in already has that keyboard shortcut bound. You could go and look in, I mean, GNOME, oops. Yes, I can do it here. So, one moment. Let's just do keyboard shortcuts. So, GNOME will obviously have an equivalent of this, where you can, you know, configure your keyboard shortcuts. Is there something in this list in GNOME that's bound to Control Space? That could be, you know, why some of those applications with those keybinds don't trigger. I'm taking a guess. Morning again, Yannick. No, but you were going to say hello in chat, weren't you? Hello. Ooh, I can't quite make that out. Let's look in the other chat window. Sorry, there was somebody said hello here, and I can't make it out. Is that Uber Regenbogen? My goodness, that's some username. The SVG versus ping issues are not significantly different from vector versus bitmap font issues. Indeed. Right, back to work. Okay, see you, Mark. Bye for now. And Mindy says you've checked those shortcuts, but both aren't used over there. The other thing is to check for is any apps that you have started that, you know, go into the indicator area. Maybe check that any of those have key bindings to those things. Did I use ULauncher on GNOME? I think I did. I think I'd started using ULauncher on GNOME and Control Space was working. So yeah. Hello Esme, welcome back. How are you? I was going to say this afternoon. Right then. Well, that's enough Mate chat. There we go. So there's a PPA there. We'll probably announce that into the wider Mate community. But those of you that stopped by this morning, you were the first to hear about that. So the other thing I'm interested in looking at, that's our VM that's running. Here's our VM. So that's our 2004 VM. In fact, we can test this very quickly, although we'll have to use a different PPA. If we do sudo apt, you won't need to do this separate PPA in a moment because the fresh PPA will include this. But if I use friction.org, that's me, and I imagine it was called this. I'm going from memory, I don't know. That's the wrong password again. My password is test, by the way. There we go. That looks good. So if we do an upgrade now, that will pull in all the new artwork. In just a few more seconds. The internet here is quite good, I have to say. Control Space is working, but Super Space isn't. Okay. Okay, Mindy, that's a more interesting observation. Let me just think about that for a moment. I have thoughts. When we added SuperKey support into the Mate desktop, including things like the Brisk menu and the Mate menu and the system as a whole, because Super is a modifier key, just passing that single key press on its own through that event, through the whole stack, was remarkably complicated. So it is possible that Super Space is being eaten by simply activating the space key. No, that doesn't make sense because GNOME does have other things bound to the super key, doesn't it? It uses things like super, cursor left and cursor right for window tiling, so I don't think it's that. So I wonder if Super Space has something bound to it in GNOME. I actually don't know if that's the case or not. It's possible. Yes, Esme. Yeah, it's not this morning for you. Do you have tea, though? Could be afternoon tea for you, I suppose. Right then. So I've done that upgrade over here, and I'm not going to restart anything this time. What we'll do is in this VM, we'll just bring up the appearances, and we will choose Mate Dark, and just like that, 2004 is now indistinguishable almost from 2104 or 2110. I was very happy with the whole ambient Mate theme in Ubuntu Mate for many years, and quite surprised at how much difference Uru Mate made on top. I absolutely love these themes, they're fantastic. And Esme, I'm glad to hear you have some jasmine tea. That sounds very sophisticated. Jasmine tea and roses, wow, that's very nice. That sounds delightful. Yannick says you should upgrade your laptop. So what are you running on your laptop then, Yannick? And get the shiny stuff. Yeah, all the shinies. And in fact, one of the reasons I'm making this change is that I noticed on my daughter's laptop, you know, she's still running 2004, and I hadn't put the Uru theme on. So, but I had on my wife's. So my daughter's due an upgrade as well. You only pretend to look sophisticated, Esme. Well, we can all enjoy, you know, our little stabs at being sophisticated. Right. Okay. So that's Mate stuff. Let's close this down. And there we go. It does still work. Shut down. So I don't need to test his. Oh, actually, no, I will. I will very quickly bring up a dev machine. So yesterday, was it yesterday? Yes, yesterday evening. I noticed there was a problem, which was I'd uploaded the Mate 126 packages to the Ubuntu archive for Impish, what will become 2110. And almost none of them had transitioned from the proposed... Oh, I broke this VM, didn't I? What's it doing? Yeah, I broke this machine. I'll have to... Let's fix this quickly now. So let's do that and delete, throw the disk away and restart it. And let's, yeah, we'll just use that option and then do the install. Let me just drag this down. So very quickly install Impish. And then we'll do an upgrade. And from that I will be, sorry if that was very loud. And from there we'll see how many of the packages have moved on. And what I noticed was there was a bunch of build failures in the archive builders, and that was presenting everything moving in lockstep out of the what's called proposed pocket into the release. So I had to go through and trigger a bunch of rebuilds, and then I looked first thing this morning and noticed there was a handful that had failed to build for RISC 5. So I've triggered those rebuilds, and hopefully they will build successfully. And when everything is built for all of the architectures, then it will be permitted to transition. So this one is Impish Mate. My password is test, by the way. Right then. So Linux Paul says you must say the new Uru theme makes a huge difference to Mate. Yeah, I really think it does. It's just a shame that the pink variant doesn't integrate with Flatpaks. The default one does though. Okay, this is interesting. So I wonder why that is. I literally know nothing about how to deliver themes as Flatpaks or have Flatpaked apps use themes. So did I post a link to the Fresh Mate PPA anywhere? One mini moment. Let me do that for you, Yannick. We'll go back here and here. And this is the Fresh Mate PPA. Let's just bump up the font sizes in here. And this is what you want here. You want to add that add apt repository PPA : Ubuntu -Mate -dev /fresh -Mate. And that will get you what you need. And if we take a refresh of that, let's see if any of those packages are published yet. Not quite. They're still.
Thank you for the follow, Reese_the_pieces.
Reese the Pieces. Is that Reese that I know from my last job, or is that a different Reese? But thank you for the follow. Okay, have you got what you need there, Yannick? Hopefully you have. So that's the Fresh Mate PPA. This is as good as getting it from, you know, the next version of Ubuntu or the next version of Debian, because they came from me and I do that. Yeah, I'd love to know how the Flatpak stuff is supposed to work. I have seen people asking after that. Obviously, that was a bit politically sensitive for me to make themes, Flatpak themes of things in the past, but not so much now. So yeah, if anyone's a Flatpak aficionado, I know Andy Hazen is, but he's probably not here this morning. But I'd welcome any, you know, help to expand where those themes function. So we're nearly done with the install. My computer's streaming away over here. It's become a bit of a space heater. I close this patio door to turn off this when I'm streaming, but it turns this room into a bit of a fish tank. So I'll just put a crack in the door to let some of the hot air out. Okay, we're nearly done with the install here. Cool, that makes a huge difference. I can literally feel like... let's restart. There we go. The Mate theme is included in the FlatHub repo, says Takov, which is a good start. Interesting. Can you post a link to that wherever that resides? Because I can make that homework. Well, not for today. Going to be a late night, as I said, because we're going to be doing a Containers 101 stream over on the Slim DevOps channel later on Twitch, and that's not going to be our usual half-hour affair. That will be what we want people to do, is bring applications that they want to containerize, and we're going to help people get successful at containerizing applications. But we've got a couple of real entry-level examples of how to get started for people who have got Ubuntu skills but are new to containers. That's how we've tried to tailor it. But as a result, I'm going to be here late, so no opportunity to fiddle about with stuff at home later, so that'll have to be a job for the weekend. But links to FlatHub theme related things, all interesting. So this is a freshly installed Impish. I hope it's Impish. Yes, 2110. And this is from a couple of days old ISO. So let's go and see what we've got. And in fact, let's do two things. Let's change the appearance. I know I made the light theme the default, and that was very deliberate. I'll explain this because I've never explained this to anyone. I made the Uru light theme default to sort of follow what macOS does. They have light by default and you can choose dark. So I've followed the same approach. And also the difference between the old Ubuntu Mate ambient theme, which was a light and dark, but mostly dark theme, and to Uru light was a very stark contrast. It was very obvious something had changed here, which was one of the reasons why I did it. Yeah, I think the light theme is very popular. Personally, I like dark everything. It's just how I prefer things. Maybe because I've been using Ubuntu for such a long time and they had that sort of light dark thing, again with mostly dark highlights. I just prefer that. So we're not going to add any PPAs here into Wimpish. We're just going to do an update. There's probably updates that are more than just my stuff. I imagine there'll be a whole bunch in here, but we'll be able to have a look and see. So if we just run this, we can see what the 19 packages are that are going to be upgraded. And if I look down this list, okay, so there's GStreamer, that's nothing to do with me, but then the Mate keyboard stuff, the Mate mixer stuff, and weather, that's all me. The icon theme, the user guide, Python Kaja, that's all stuff I did. So not many of the packages have migrated yet. So these packages have all made their way over because they are not referenced directly by the meta package, so they've been allowed to transition through. But everything that's mentioned in the Mate desktop environment meta package is currently held back from proposing because the whole thing hasn't built for every architecture. I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment, but we can upgrade. I think we'll get ourselves a slightly mix of Mate 124 and 126, but that should be fine. I don't think there's no ABI changes in any of these bits that would cause anything to break. So that's as much as we can do there. So we'll just shut down this machine. What have we got here? There's a couple of comments. Let me just go and take a look at this. Okay. So, Paul says, yeah, the Uru Mate in FlatHub, but not the coloured variants. Yes, yeah, so the coloured variants we ship via a PPA. Maybe I should work with Luke and bring those all into like the standard thing, but not install them by default, but have them in the archive. Yeah, that makes sense. So the coloured versions are not referenced in the flat pack, and the Uru Mate GTK theme, Uru Mate. Yes, that all looks sensible. And then Yannick asks, is there any way to know what version of Mate is running? Yes, there are two ways to do that. Let me show you. We'll fire up that VM again. In fact, hang on a minute. Oh. There we go. So if we just restart this VM, I'll show you the two ways you can do that. So this way I'm about to show you works for every panel layout. If you go to the session here and about this computer, it opens up the system monitor, and here you will see, among other things, what version of Mate you're running. So because this is the impish VM and all of Mate 126 hasn't migrated yet, it's mostly Mate 124.1. So that's why that's reported there. Now, the other way you can do it is from the command line. You can do Mate about, and that is the general desktop environment about dialog, which says that. And the reason why you don't see this in all these menus here is because this about dialog is referenced from the old applications, places, system, menus. So if you're running that layout, you can, well, in fact, let's do it. Tweak. Let's go back to traditional, which I think is probably how Paul is sort of running his machine, with applications, places and system, and under system it's about Mate, and there's that dialog again. So there we go. That's that. We'll shut that VM down. So so Linux Paul says they prefer the light theme because they can't take light text on dark backgrounds. I'm sorry, therefore, for what you're seeing in the stream, which is almost exclusively that. I much prefer that for whatever reason. Yeah, I much prefer dark on light. Right then, so the other thing I was going to take a look at, and I don't know if we've got time to get into this yet, let's give it a go, is there's a project that I've heard mention of, and I only broadly understand what it is, and it's called Gitpod. And without doing any research whatsoever, my understanding is this is a way to sort of create a coding workspace, an environment for development on a per sort of Git repository or project basis. But I know nothing about this, and I was going to have a go at setting it up, but I think maybe, given that I've been going for a little while here now, maybe this will save for the slim DevOps stream that we do later. So I think I'll get into the Gitpod stuff in that stream later on. But what I'm hoping is that I'm going to find in Gitpod something that I will be able to use for all of my little development projects, is to create these nice little ready to code workspaces, not just for container stuff, but for all the things. So this is going to be a theme of something I dig into over the coming sort of days. So yeah, if you are into development and if you know about Gitpod, then please do speak up and let me know how your experiences have been, what similar solutions exist and how they compare. Always interested to hear that. So Yannick says he's noticed a problem in air quotes with the menu. Apps are ordered alphabetically, but the accented entries are at the end. At the very end or at the end of that lettering? I mean, that's just Unicode, I think, unfortunately. I mean, we can look at that. Maybe there's a way to do Unicode ordering. I don't know. At the very end. Okay. Well, there's interesting. Okay, I'll have to have a think about that. Does that happen in GNOME? Just out of interest. Because if it doesn't happen in GNOME, then that means there must be a method or a function somewhere. It's a common problem. Yeah, I'm sure it is, because they're not well, in the traditional sort of, you know, alphanumerical character set, they are not in that set. They'd be seen as a special character. So, but there may well be a Unicode sort of filter for that in glibc. But thank you for mentioning it. That's something to peer into. Right, okay, let's go back up here. Did I finish all of my teas? Not quite. Did everyone else finish their tea yet? Actually, how did that transition work? Let's just go back here. Yeah, that looks good, doesn't it? There we go. And back there. There we go. Yeah, fades out nicely. Don't know about GNOME. I don't seem to have any accented capital letters. What, in GNOME at all? I don't have the same apps installed, or? Fix that is to get rid of the accents on capital letters. I think that's the norm in French. Really? I'm surprised. So you're saying that the conventional workaround is to convert the accented character to its naked character equivalent in order to allow the sort order to be correct, even though it doesn't pronounce the same anymore. Does that work though? Because then screen readers are going to say the wrong thing. Oh gosh, there's a whole can of worms here. This is definitely a sit down and have a read on a Sunday afternoon type problem, because the implications of doing this right are, you know, more broad than you might first, you know, think. I care about screen reading. Right. Well, thank you all very much for stopping by. For those of you that are running Ubuntu Mate or use Mate Desktop, then hopefully there is something interesting there for you. And if you want to skill up on your container skills, or specifically start your journey with container skills, then head over to Slim DevOps on Twitch, and we'll be streaming there later. Now, the other thing I'm about to look at is I'm terrible at not doing channel raids. So today I'm going to try and do that. The first thing I need to do is turn off that. Somebody is streaming. So the question is there anyone streaming on Twitch that I know? No, doesn't look like it. Is there anyone here who knows anyone streaming on Twitch right now doing any kind of Linuxy stuff? Because if you know of anyone, then we can do a channel raid with a like-minded channel. The stream stopped. Really? No, I think that might be you, Yannick. I think that might be you. Hopefully, if anyone else can confirm, the stream is up. I'm looking at my stream dashboard at the moment. It says I'm still broadcasting. Yeah, okay, good. So the one thing that changed, I think it was Takov that mentioned this to me a couple of days ago, is there is a Linux tag in Twitch now, which if you look at this stream I'm using. So, and one person so far has discovered this channel as a result of using that Linux tag. Hey, okay, well done, Yannick. So Yannick is now successfully running Mate 126 on the laptop. So therefore, that means you what version were you running? 2104 or Focal? I imagine it was 2104 because the Focal packages were still migrating. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, lots of good fixes in there. I'm very happy. It's a modest upgrade, but so many fixes, and also it's the little things that I noticed, like there was a lot of effort in putting in CI/CD with static analysis of the code and things like that. So a lot of the big changes are actually fixing memory leaks and things like that. So the sort of resource size is ever so slightly smaller, but you don't get this ballooning in some of the applications and services where there were memory leaks that hadn't been plugged. So it's running a lot tighter now, and I think that's probably the thing people will notice most, and also getting rid of some of the legacy code and aligning that more with glibc and what's provided by glibc and GTK, as opposed to some of the sort of heritage code that predated those features being sort of generally available. All of that is just makes it a bit tighter. It's nice. Right then. Okay, well, I'm going to say thank you all very much for stopping by. I will definitely be doing one of these again tomorrow morning. So do, get your tea bags ready, or grind your coffee in advance, or, get your orange juicer out, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow morning for another little bit of a chat. And tomorrow I think I'm pretty much... Well, I could do two things. What do you think about this? Let's put this out for debate. I could do some stuff with Gitpod. The other thing I thought I could get into a bit is I could do like a workstation tour. I've just built this system. It's designed for day-to-day development and streaming and creating video stuff. And I've got a whole bunch of peripherals connected to it. So what do you want to see? Do you want to have like a workstation tour of a modern sort of, you know, Linux DIY workstation? Or do you want to do Gitpod development? Oh, how goes? It's okay. Looks like a workstation tool. Okay, fine. We'll do that then. Right. Okay. Oh, Nick DM. That's a new name. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you in here before, but thanks very much for stopping by. Okay. Well, tomorrow then it will be a workstation tour, and I think I have everything here. Okay, yeah, everyone wants the workstation tour. Okay, fine. All right, I will go through that. I'll break down the hardware, how I've got stuff configured, the peripherals, how they're connected. I'll have a think about how I show some of the stuff that, like, I might need to get like a mobile phone working as a camera as well, so I can show you how I've got things set up that I can't, you know, the cameras that are here and there, like I can show you how I've done that. But yeah, okay, I'll explain all of that. Okay, Yannick, just to juxtapose, you want Gitpod. Well, I tell you what, we'll do the workstation tour on Friday as like a, it's almost the weekend bit of fun. And then on Monday next week, I'll start and we'll do all, we'll start with Gitpod related stuff on Monday. There we go. How's about that? With the Troopers song in the background. No. For DMCA and copyright reasons. So, nice idea, but no, I won't be doing that. Right, okay. Well, that's tomorrow's stream sorted out. I like that. I like this getting you lot to let me know what you want to see. It's good. And if when I'm doing these streams there's stuff you want to know more about, stuff that I've spoken about in the past on the podcast or previous streams, and you want deeper dive into things, let me know what those topics are as well, because I'll gladly dig into some of that stuff. But for now, thank you all very much. Thanks for the feedback. I'll see you tomorrow morning for a workstation tour. Thank you all for coming. Bye bye.